everyone. Hi, I'm Nikita with
Diana.
And we are
Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. And for today's show, we'd like to talk about three things. But first thing, we went up on a trip up north to visit friends by Wautoma, and
it was very enjoyable, relaxation.
And on the way back, we had a chance to stop back at pass by Berlin, which is where Nikita did her art exposition.
My first art exhibit way back in 1982.
And we all passed by Ripon, where actually I went to summer music camp and actually started my study of history with Clementi and also American Revolution. So when you go up there, you think you're going to get away from civilization. However,
no. Diana, you said you were up there, 45 years ago?
Yeah, and it's a lot different then, because the distance between civilization then was 50 miles. Now when you go up there, it's actually about 12 to 15 miles.
12 to 15
so
miles,
basically, it's equivalent driving from the one side of Kenosha to Lucene. So basically, it's like except you see the farmers, they're not as they're portrayed to be. They're very intelligent.
If you look at the farms today, they're nothing like, let's say, the Green Acres show.
No.
They look like top secret.
That's
Area 51.
Yeah,
top secret military.
Yeah,
we're trying to find ET.
Yeah, and what happens?
Help me home.
But to some of you follow me on Facebook, the reason I'm not wearing my wig today is because with the high temperature, it makes it awful hard with my syncope, and this way I can keep cooler. And also a tribute out there to many women who, basically who have a little bit of hair due to cancer or something else, that you can wear. You can go out as you are, not have to worry about always wearing a wig.
Absolutely. I'm proud of them.
Yeah,
And I think, by the way, our title only reflects one thing, because we're girls here.
Yes.
But men, more than can listen, and in a short time, we're looking to get a call-in feature. So both women and men, anybody that basically wants to just speak their mind, like how I feel today. And unfortunately, let's be honest, since March.
Yeah,
do we want to say this dirty word?
What's
dirty
that?
Statement?
Go ahead. We're not
COVID-19.
Yeah, we're not.
I like to use the word pandemic.
Right. Well, no.
Pandemic.
Right. Well, I mean,
we're all panicky.
Yeah. Well, we're working to get on. We're working to get back on an on-air radio station. We're in discussions. But however, as Nikita mentioned with this COVID-19, we had the weirdest thing. We started discussions about a week before the Wisconsin lockdown. We prepared a little talking points and outline, and then as soon as the lockdown came, basically, we talked a little bit by email, but everyone was caught so flat-footed that at the university and other places, it's like, what do you do? Because basically, how you can discuss things, but how do you do things?
And remember all the so-called hopeful promises.
Yeah.
We'll be all open on.
Sure, June 1st. Yeah, like exactly. Yeah, and now they're not. I mean, like for example, even around here, I walked around to Burger King, and and a friend of mine, what happened? He saw this national advertisement by Applebee's, on TV, that because he likes to go to Applebee's, and Ron went down there, and he wanted to try some of the salads because he likes salads, and he went to the door and said, he knocked on the door and said, "So," and the manager said, "Sorry, only takeout." He says, "Well, wait, you had your national advertisement. Did all your stores open?" "Well, we're just doing takeout right now." It's like, well, okay, you had the national advertisement, but I guess someone did get the memo, or
Well, I guess when it comes to fast food, the ideology behind it, and then having something where people cannot get out of their vehicles.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. They're making a killing. Through the drive-through concept has now revolutionized a way we can order.
Sure.
In safety.
Right.
And we don't have to shut off the vehicle, not waste gas.
Oh, right, exactly. Right. And but the only thing is, for me, I miss the dining room because
Well,
basically,
me too.
because it's
Me
it's
too.
actually
I'm a
like,
tactile individual. I mean, I like to actually be among people,
like
and that this virtual reality.
yeah, no, the Zoom
Yeah,
thing.
I'm tired of playing this video game.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Except unfortunately,
right,
it's
yeah, yeah, and and see
I
the
don't know.
and see the thing
It's
is,
real.
to some of us, who are social introverts as I am, social introvert is like a lungfish. I can go and mix with people for a short period of time, but then I have to go back to introvertism. But that's where the dining room comes in because I can interact for a short period of time, and then and other people basically extroverts can basically get out. But I'm more of a social introvert, so I like those times where I can just go down, go Barnes and Noble Cafe, and stuff.
Kind of gives you a chance to de-stress.
Exactly.
I mean, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this thing going on, this COVID-19 and the mask mandatory and all this, yeah, especially on 90-degree weather
Oh, sure, yeah.
with humidity, heat
Right.
indexes.
And when we were up north, a lot of people were talking about they're calling it the Chinese virus, and they weren't blaming the Chinese people; they're blaming the Chinese government, which is let's make a distinction. It's not the Chinese people;
No,
it's the Chinese government that let this thing get out of hand, and that's why they're calling it the Chinese virus. The China, I've have many friends in China, especially from Shanghai, that I knew in the early '70s when I was a teenager, and we kept up our friendship. And the Chang brothers, wonderful brothers. They actually they sort of like my adopted brothers like that. So and basically but the Chinese government, you guys really fumbled the ball. And up north, they'll tell you. They're conservative north, but they're socially liberal because you'll see people Harleys going like this peace symbol, and and when
it's you gotta admit, I mean, unfortunately, with all in cities, our the crime factor is starting to creep in and stuff like that.
oh sure,
Up north, it really is kind of a laid back.
it is
It's very, and it's just natural beauty.
yeah.
And I myself, I myself have not been up north in about 40 years. And,
Exactly. Yeah. So
you guys were teasing me because I was saying, "What's that on that tree?
yeah.
What's that? Looks like gold droplets.
Yeah.
Liquid gold." And then, of course, it turned out to be tree sap.
Yeah. We're teasing Nikita a little bit about that because Dale Rose and I were have been in the Northwoods quite a bit, and Nikita's stuff was just
Well, yeah, I mean,
back
we've been
again.
there for 40 years.
Yeah.
It's
So
just, but I don't know. I mean, I guess the most critical issue I'd like to really talk about is, President Trump has stipulated that all the kids are going back to school.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And
the kind of feedback I'm getting from the teachers responsible for these students.
Yeah.
Is, I mean, I really don't want to, let's say, have all my family.
Sure.
A lot of students think of
go ahead.
their boys and girls as, their family. I mean, can you imagine all of a sudden, your best friends, like sons and daughters to you, start getting sick? Let's say you have 30 people, right?
Yeah.
And God forbid if even one dies because
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, a child. It should happen to a child.
No.
Trying to get an education.
Right.
And the biggest problem, what they found out is this new state-of-the-art 21st century VR environment, connections. They were like saying that
that's not.
Well, about 1/3 of the people really took it, and the other 2/3 again want to be with people.
Right.
And they said in the beginning it was kind of cool.
Sure.
The parents were saying this actually.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. You got your son or daughter in the back,
right,
with their iPhone or whatever, or get ready.
Yeah.
And then basically you can drive by the library and pick up the Wi-Fi signal.
Sure, exactly right.
In your car, but it got old real fast with the parents.
Yeah, and to be fair, I obtained both. I obtained my graduate degree from the University of Phoenix Online Milwaukee campus and Phoenix campus. And at that time, I was about 40 when I started online classes for my MBA and then 3 years of my doctoral study.
Hmm.
But the thing is, what University of Phoenix did though is they didn't jump in like the way the university had to. They actually had a planned process as to how to do. And what they did, they didn't use Zoom. They actually use online chat rooms. So basically, you take a course and then the first 2 weeks are reading weeks, and then you do like five days of chat in doctoral school, 3 days of chat, 4 days of chat in MBA school, and plus papers at the end of the week, about 3,000 words of papers. And the dissertation was supposed to be 45,000. My MBA dissertation thesis was actually 120,000 words, the longest they ever had. But the point is, the online system is planned out. It's not a hodgepodge. And the way they had to do it this spring at UW and at the local schools.
So you did a lot of the VR.
No, we actually just did chat. We had a chat as a chat room, as a tech.
I could see the novelty of the chat room, but to sit here, like right now, we're teachers.
Yeah,
and then we got the students.
Well, here's the reason why University of Phoenix didn't go to VR and Zoom like that, because here's what the problem is. Okay, University of Phoenix, normally in a virtual classroom, you have about 200 students per class. Okay, so you imagine having 200 Zoom connections or Skype connections, and everyone's trying to hop in. Now, what happens when you have a chat connection?
And what happens if the connection is lost?
Right, and see,
school's out.
Right. Now the thing is, you can handle 200 chats even at a low internet speed, because basically to send text is less of a bandwidth than to send video and audio, and that's why University of Phoenix did it that way. And the thing is, but again, it's based on a certain type of student, because when I took it, I was 4 years old.
Right.
I was used to internet chats because Nikita and I, we started, chat. We worked in chat rooms in the 90s. We had different handles.
Right.
I mean, my handle in the 90s was Belinda the Java Girl. Nikita had a handle.
I was Fem Patel.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, so basically we're all.
But it's not for, they were, I mean, a lot of people said, I told you so. We're human beings.
Yeah.
We need to connect. And so
exactly. Right.
Even though, imagine a state-of-the-art, environmental, education tool.
Yeah.
Where you just school in.
Yeah, exactly.
And school out, and then boom, you're all locked in and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, that's 25, 30 years away.
Exactly.
Because unfortunately, with the wireless, and I mean, there are a certain percentage, like they were saying, the people that basically who are, approaching the poverty level.
Yeah.
I can't go out and spend $500 to $1,000 for a computer
and that's what's and that's what's happening in Milwaukee and Chicago. I mean, they have school systems that are giving laptops to families that
yes, they're actually.
However, but here's the problem.
Sharing.
Here's the problem.
Well, actually, you're right. Giving them.
Yeah. Okay. A child has a laptop. Fine. That's big. Well, okay. Now, where do you go for internet? Well, if we didn't have this COVID-19, you could easily go to Wendy's, McDonald's, get a glass of water, and they let you study. Because when I studied at University of Phoenix, I actually stayed in an apartment building that didn't have internet, so I'd go down to McDonald's on South Side Kenosha, and I'd study because you had to have your classwork done by 12 p.m. Phoenix time. So I was at McDonald's late at night studying, and another person was there too, and basically that, and they let you do that. But now with the COVID-19, when these
do you remember the name we used to call these? I mean, when I moved to Madison, I was astonished to run into this new technology.
Yeah.
College students with laptops.
Yeah.
And basically, all sitting there typing.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking.
Yeah, right.
Trying to keep it down.
Sure, exactly.
Like a library. And this was like sort of like a Wendy's.
Exactly.
Actually, I think it was a Starbucks.
Right, exactly. And that too.
What did we used to call them? Wireless cafes.
Wireless cafes.
Wireless cafes was a term.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember I'd come there and I'd be talking to people and stuff like that.
Exactly right. Yeah.
By the way, I have an art degree. I have a bachelor's arts
But for
in
Parsons,
commercial art from Parsons School of Design and Illustration, which is simply called Parsons School, but it's quite an elite art school. Some of your great impressionistic painters, your Brandywine painters, if anybody knows. Like, I'm trying to remember some of the names. Well, Andrew White.
Right.
N.C. White was his, I believe,
nephew.
Father.
Father, that's right.
Who was also an illustrator,
yes.
Famous illustrator, meaning for the magazines of that time period. And absolutely gorgeous work. But I mean, I went there in '82, and I graduated in '86 and stuff like that. And I also I worked in social kind of stressful conditions, and because I do have a therapist degree too.
Exactly. Right.
And it's amazing. Like they're saying that they're finding children and adults so withdrawn.
Yeah.
But because basically, what's the old saying? You go what do they call it? Stir crazy.
Or basically cabin fever, but you have
cabin fever.
But you have cabin fever in the summer instead of in the winter, as we do in the
yeah.
And the thing is, just going back to this internet thing is like basically it's good the schools are handing laptops out to children and families who need them. I applaud them. That's a very good. However, with this COVID-19, right now basically Kenosha Public Library, and I think we've seen Public Library had a policy where people could park in the parking lots and get the Wi-Fi, from the signal that goes out to the park. But now, because of the new restrictions, they can't do that. So basically, for families that can't afford internet,
but that option is now closed.
Like, and here's the other thing: when people say,
And did you hear this? That when school, it's a mask is mandatory.
Right, exactly.
So I guess all the little boys and girls, not the high schoolers, we're all going to look like bandits.
Right, exactly.
Reach for the sky.
Oh, okay.
Varmint.
But
that's how I look at it.
But here's the last point about internet, though. A lot of people say, you can call Spectrum, you can call Charter, you can call Time Warner, and if you're low income, you can get it for $20 a month. Okay, well. To many people who've never worked with people that actually are from different parts of the city or never have seen actually the whole city. They only saw the tourist traps. They never saw the whole city, like the Hans Christian Andersen story. To many people who live in this other part of the city, $20 a month is a lot. That's a difference between food in the last week of the month, or basically gasoline or bus fare to go to work. And I mean, because here's how you have to figure it. Okay, $20 to someone who makes $4,500 a month. Okay, so take 20 divided by 4,500, basically that's 1/125th. So that's 1%. That's about 1% of the income. Okay, now
which is nothing really.
Nothing. Okay,
you don't even worry about it.
Okay, now $20 to someone who makes $700 a month. That's 1/35th. That's 3% of the income. They're being underpaid, and they're paying 3 times more as a percentage of the income.
True.
And see, that's what people don't think about. And it's
So basically, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to live in your budget.
Exactly.
And the problem is, I mean, the internet. I mean, the cost has come down unbelievably to the point where you can buy now 4K TVs, for under $200. Sure. I'm talking about. That 43-inch I was looking at,
exactly right.
168, and it was a true 4K. I remember TVs like that just 5 years ago costing thousands. And
Nikita and I, we watch over-the-air TV and internet TV because basically, I'm still not at the point where I can afford $89 or $120 for cable.
I would feel so truthfully.
I just have internet and Netflix.
If it's going to cost me more than say $40, up to $50 a month.
Yeah.
Then then I'm stupid for allowing myself to fall into your trap and stuff like that. To me, this type of stuff, Netflix and all that, as long as it's under, I mean, for everything, uh, I mean, $20 a month. That's for all your viewing,
Oh, sure, sure.
pleasures and stuff
Sure.
like that. I mean, that's not bad. But again, saving money now is pertinent.
It is.
It really
Save
is
as much as you
because
can because basically,
they don't know what's going to happen. Truthfully, next month.
Yeah, and I just like to make a comment, just two comments before we go in there. Yesterday Ivanka Trump made a comment about for people who, who were laid off by COVID-19 or can't, and she said, "Well, we'll find another job." It reminds me of a song by Bruce Hornsby and the Range, where basically he had a line or something like, was a sharply dressed man walks by someone on the street and says, "Get a job." As his song was about basically how insensitive people were. Even,
Well, yeah.
the young
So
people were
what
even,
she did? She took her basically golden golden spoon and shoved it right up her. You know what? That's where it should have been for her. I mean, yeah, because basically, let's be honest, Ivanka Trump has never worked a day in her life.
Right.
And that depending on daddy and
right,
and mommy and all that kind of stuff. I myself, I was just like everybody else. I mean, I got my education and stuff like that.
Sure.
But it's people like Ivana, or Ivanka, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't, follow the fact,
But
I mean, if you don't have something nice to say, then just don't say it.
Right.
Especially about somebody who basically was making, say, was working for 15, 20 years, making $50,000 a year.
Oh, sure.
And has a nice 3-bedroom home and all that.
Exactly.
And, a family and that. Now she or he is laid off because, well, the country is shut down. I'm sorry, we can't use you right now.
Right.
Okay, how am I supposed to pay those bills?
Exactly. And to be fair, and to be fair, Nikita and I were both raised upper middle class. I was raised in Wautoma, and Nikita was raised
in Brookfield.
And however, both of us were not those that just stood at the country club at Blue Mountain Country Club and actually both Nikki and I, we experienced what the real city of Milwaukee was like. We knew the good section, the western suburbs of Wautoma, but we also knew the Milwaukee core, and I remember a few times having to get my car unlocked when I left my keys in car, and also even like when I went for a job interview and had my license stolen. But the thing is, both of us have seen many parts of the city, and also in parts of the U.S., Chicago, Boston, Portland.
I've been
Cali, Phoenix. So it's like basically, we're not basically. I don't like to use the term snowflake, but I mean snowflake and someone basically who's never has seen the real city that exists past the walls that separate the beauty from the real.
Oh, I've actually lived. I've actually lived. I mean, unfortunately, it's a very insidious term. The ghetto.
Yeah.
And I've actually lived in a situation for 2.5 years, and basically, I am totally street smart.
Yeah,
and also, if that's what you're trying to say, but I discovered this. You got to get out of that because
sure.
When I mean it's a dead end. I mean, eventually you will die because of basically, you're dealing with chronic alcoholics, crackheads.
Right, and Nikki and I have both been homeless in life. I mean, I stayed in multiple shelters, and I was domestically abused as Nikita was. I stayed in a women's domestic abuse shelter too. But people think, well, that's fine. People in shelters are fine. No, you get the religious hawks trying to pound this.
Well, I was on my own. I was
then,
homeless for 17 days because basically, sure enough, I decided to move in with my at the time my accident, and things didn't work out, and basically he just kind of abandoned me high and dry, and basically then all of a sudden the this weird, new mysterious epidemic was starting.
Exactly. And
So
everything was
I
shut down.
got, yeah, everything was shut down. I mean, all the shelters
Right.
were completely full.
And I was able to help out a little bit, but it's still
Well,
it's
as you can just do so much. And
exactly.
as the police told me,
Yeah.
I'm in Racine now, and that no, we're not going to arrest you for pulling over to the side and sleeping in your vehicle. No, we don't arrest homeless people.
No.
I mean, that was a reality check for me. And as basically, I had signed up because basically after my father passed away, I have an elderly mother now who is 89, soon to be 90. I basically, the amount of money and that, and I'm getting to the point where I'm 60 years old now, and it's just it's time to kind of retire, move on to better pastures, as they say. But then I got caught in this in that, and I'll tell you, I mean, I ended up spending 5 days in Aurora Psychiatric Hospital in Wauwatosa. I had a nervous breakdown,
and I did too.
And the doctor asked me, "So what brought you here, Nikita?"
Exactly.
And I just looked and I said, "Oh, gee, let me think for a second. Oh, the thought of being homeless."
Yeah, exactly.
No. And he looked at me and he said, "Good answer."
But this
holy.
But this brings out a good point to some people who are pressured.
Mr. Scott, beam me up.
Yeah, but this brings up a point though to people who are forced to think, well, you have to be someone. You have to live in an apartment. You have to get married. When what happens if you're in an apartment, if you have your own apartment, you have a good lifestyle and you're doing good. That you can always have friendship. If you like a guy or something, you can have him sleep over for
or a girl
for a weekend or something like that. Or you could go over to their place and sleep over. But what happens that way, basically you can still keep your lifestyle stable and everything else. And when you get old enough, do we want to sort of have to try to start out like you're 20 years old when you're 50 or 55? Basically, especially when you're getting Social Security or health benefits and stuff and other things.
Well, I mean, the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whoever was actually working.
Yeah.
They're on unemployment right now and they're getting $600 a week.
Exactly.
Which, is really gives you incentive. And they even interviewed some people.
Yeah.
And they said, why should I go back to work until find a better job? But as of right now, that's ending this month.
And also the other thing with friendship, though, basically some churches are going to come down on me for saying this, but sometimes it's better to be friends for 25 years than to jump into a domestic domestic relationship or marriage, and then basically find out that you're fighting with each other for 3 years, and then basically both you crash and burn 4 or 5 years later.
True.
So. Because remember, Frida Kahlo with her husband, she was at first they were married, but then they divorced, and after they divorced, they were friends till life did them part.
I don't see a problem with that at all.
No.
I mean, if it's an understanding, I mean, who I'm with is my business.
Exactly.
It's called my private my private life.
Right. And whether man or woman, I mean, I'm bi, but I prefer women, and. So, but basically, I have guy friends, but we just go out for lunch. But but for other things, other functions, I prefer women. But but the thing is, when I do, I either spend a weekend over at a friend's house, or basically, or a friend will spend a weekend with me, or something like that.
True.
And that's it. But before we go on to the next time on COVID-19, I just want to bring one pop about how the easiest way, if you are in a ghetto situation or abusive situation, how you can end it. Let me get one pop to show you.
Okay.
I have to.
All right.
Let's see if I still have it. Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right.
I'm gonna try to put it so.
That's right. This is live.
This is so okay now. Okay, if you're in a bad situation, you may think, well, okay, to get out of a bad situation, I got to call movers. I got to get.
Or are we virtual?
Like
we are virtual.
Like yeah. so
Oh,
yeah, so you think, well, okay, I got to call moves, I got to get all this stuff out.
3D,
Yep.
Second City TV.
Yeah, but you know, if you're in a bad situation, you really want to get out of it.
Mm.
Okay. I bought this. I bought this at Kmart. You can buy it at Walmart. It's a 20-inch tote bag, like this. Enough enough for one pair of shoes plus the shoes you're walking. 3 days of clothes. Your laptop comes with a strap. And what you do?
And if you're really, I mean, Diane is a big, beautiful woman, and I'm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a tiny little thing.
Right.
I'm 5'10", yeah, ex-model and that. But if you're really petite and all that, you could actually, if you need to snuggle up in your
Sure.
overnight bag.
Yeah.
I mean, the real tiny.
Exactly.
There's real tiny women
But
out
what
there.
happens? This will allow you basically to get out of any situation. And what happens? Everything else that you can't take, just forget about, because
And you know I'm joking about that.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, please, I'm just. I mean, the whole idea of this show is, you know, is a de-stressor.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm joking about that, and like I said, yeah, I pray to God or whoever you want to believe in.
Right.
the
You have
existence,
right
but,
to believe or not believe as an American. Right. Exactly.
well, yeah, but yeah, 17 days. I mean, I was just getting to the point, you know, and then finally, I signed up one of these assistant living care because
Exactly.
my mom, unfortunately,
Yeah.
just 3 months ago now, wow,
Right.
It's been 3 months,
Yeah.
was diagnosed positively for Alzheimer's and dementia.
Exactly. You know.
So basically right now I'm working on ways of getting, my father was a vet, so there's also what they call a veterans
Right.
care
Right.
package, you know, for the surviving, you know, spouse and that. But you know, I mean, getting caught in, actually not caught, but squeezed in this. I mean, it was like, I mean, I don't know how long I'm gonna have to camp in my vehicle was my answer all the time.
And what happened before Nikita had a camper vehicle, she had money to stay at hotels, but basically that drained her credit card.
I had a $9,000 credit card.
Yeah.
Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, staying the cheapest, the so-called Motel 6s, $36, but then of course there's no microwave, so you have to go out and spend money that obviously you don't have. But if you want the necessities, the niceties like a home, you know, microwave, refrigerator, and all that.
Exactly.
It's $65-$70, which is good. You know, I mean, I got it for like a half price.
Yeah.
But living in you know, hotels,
it's
hard.
Yeah.
Almost 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
but
it's, I mean,
But for those of you in a bad situation, when you really make a decision you want to improve your life, all you do is go get buy a duffel bag, put 3 days of clothes in, one pair of shoes, carry whatever toiletries you need, like if you need a shaver or pluck or.
But I would first, you know, talk to a friend.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, explain your situation, stuff like that. But unfortunately, with this assisted living, it's part of the HUD, you know, provisions, you know, of how much, you know, and you know, it costs and all that. And then finally, my name and my mom's name came up on the list, which right now, believe it or not, is like 22 months to wait.
Exactly. But the reason I mentioned tote bags, even if you're staying with a friend, if you just bring a tote bag, you know, basically. That way, basically, there isn't any type of friction because your friend knows this is just temporary. You're going to look for something.
Right.
You know, but if you come in with a big, you know, like one of these big super duper suitcases, you know, like
it's kind of an intrusion.
Yeah,
it really comes down to.
And you know,
but yeah, an overnight bag, a tote bag,
you know,
whatever.
And then what happens? It makes.
I know that you're planning. You're waiting maybe a week, or something.
Like when I was last homeless, I stayed with a friend for about 6 months until I could find an apartment in Racine, and I kept that tote, and then I had the rest of my things in storage. But literally, when I moved in, I didn't have any furniture. And the nice thing is, the people in the building I lived in, they donated most of the furniture
Right.
and
Right.
then I was able to get other things later. But now going on this next thing on new updates on COVID-19. I did see this morning about where over 100 scientists signed an open letter demanding what they call human demand testing in the U.S. of the vaccine that's currently developed.
Okay.
And the reason why I think this is important is because right now, so many of our manufacturing facilities for pharmaceutical are moved over to China. That basically, and again, not the Chinese people, the Chinese government, they haven't been playing fair. It's like you're playing golf, and someone says they have a birdie, but you counted 10 strokes. That's not a birdie. That's an X on the scorecard.
Okay.
So basically, I'm glad to see, and the thing for human demand testing means that basically they take a healthy individual, they give them the vaccine, then they inject, then they give them the COVID virus to see basically if the vaccine actually did.
So is this all volunteer work right now?
This is all, and
it's kind of like when I was I needed money.
Yeah.
Going
Exactly.
to school. I everybody remembers the term lab rat.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Most of it was for overeating, and
Right.
they would give you the medication or a placebo,
Exactly.
which was a sugar pill.
Exactly. Right. Right. And so the thing is, what's going to happen with this virus, with this type of testing, though, we'll be able to get honest results, and we'll be able to get apolitical results. Because one thing that Keith and I both agreed on this show is we're going to give you news that's not politically or commercially biased. Because
there's way too much of that
because when you look at some of these officials that give the news, like I won't mention names, but basically there is a huge pharmaceutical company tied, because basically sometimes the company funds the research, or sometimes they're directly tied into this pharmaceutical product.
Right.
And so now the thing is, what I've always been on a business show, whenever they have a guest, they say, well, here we have Mrs. Smith from XYZ Technology. Her positions are that she owns so much stock in IBM, so much stock in Wendy's, so much stock in McDonald's, so much stock in Intel, and she's a board member of basically Healthful Med Hospital ABC. So basically, before she speaks, you know exactly what her point of view is. In my point of view, right now, I don't own any stocks. I don't have any pharmaceutical companies sponsoring any.
Yeah, certainly if you already have the stock and you already got the pay.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to talk down on it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, I mean that human life is precious, but when it comes to the pharmaceutical companies, let's be honest. Money makes the world go around. Exactly. As Eliza Minnelli said in the classic
Cabaret.
Yeah.
And the thing about this Corvid virus thing is, when we went up north, there are a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people think of farmers as Green Acres, basically hicks, or even like how they portrayed on Hee Haw, like in Ken Burns' country music. They asked someone about what they thought of Hee Haw, and they said, well, we're big enough to laugh at ourselves, which was a good attitude to have. But they actually knew, but they did mention something important about Hee Haw. When they did play, they were serious. They were professional and serious musicians when they did play. So. Oh,
sure. I mean, come on. I mean, it's obviously, if you want to be in the entertainment world and stuff like that. I do remember a show called The Gong Show.
Yeah.
With Chuck Barris, and Chuck Barris basically was laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
So you have the voice of an angel,
right? Exactly.
And then basically the celebrities would say, an angel. It sounds more like a cat with its tail caught in the door.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, kind of attitudes and that. And Barris basically, made a fortune.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
On that show.
Exactly, right, yeah.
And that, which is strictly entertainment again.
Yeah.
He even said it that, the people that we have on the show, we're not making fun of them.
No.
They're making fun of themselves.
And
it's okay if I make a fool out of myself.
Yeah.
as long as you don't make a fool out of me.
Exactly. And
Right. Yeah. If you want to make a fool out of yourself because you think you have talent,
right, exactly.
and that,
Sure.
I can just imagine presenting this idea for a game show.
Oh, sure,
A bunch of, so-called, I can sing.
Exactly.
Oh, 'tis us.
Well, exactly. That's it. But
Well, now you owe us for the broken window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but just to go back on this thing about technology, people think like Nashville, like
But I just want to interject. Did you notice how laid back? Northern Wisconsin.
Yes, they are fair.
It's really crazy to think Arizona
and Northern Wisconsin, two peas in a pod. Yeah, they are.
Unfortunately,
they are.
They've got this rampant, surging going on. It's Texas, Arizona,
sure,
and Florida. I think they said just last week again broke its record.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into we'll go into more discussion. But I just want to close with one thought. A lot of people think Nashville country. They don't know how to play. But actually, when I was taught by Les Paul, he actually taught me the Nashville method: 1-4-5, 1 diminished fourth, seventh, and also farmers. They think farmers are like hee-haw. You're using this old John Deere tractor and you're plowing 100 fields with this. No. When we went up there, we saw these big watering legs. They were about 6 blocks long. And
6 blocks.
And
That's
actually,
good.
we drove through one. It actually gave the SUV a wash.
Yes, it did.
Where we drove.
Yeah, so it's not like where you got the residents taking water barrels.
So people really wonder about STEM. Go up to Northern Wisconsin, visit a farm. You'll find out that basically.
And what about that giant?
Yeah.
Look like a gigantic it reminded me of the vehicle that had the Saturn V rocket.
Yeah, exactly.
I jokingly said, "Well, I'm gonna drive under it."
The big Caterpillar. Yeah, the big Caterpillar.
It was
big Cat.
I would say at least a good 16 feet off the ground.
It was, yeah, and the same thing in Nashville. You go to Nashville, do you think basically it's very much technology and music there because they realize the value of technology and better recording equipment, just like the farmers did about technology too. So when you go on the farm in Northern Wisconsin, actually you're going to be walking into an office which is more set up better than the Silicon Valley, and with people that actually do the work and do a little bit of both. They're not basically eggheads or cone heads, like that.
Yeah.
So they know about the whole. So my point is, with this election season, we gotta stop thinking that that this is flyover country. No, we're not flyover country. We never have been. We just enjoy our nature and basically, but we also use technology. If you would come and visit us in people know.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with technology when it basically will allow advancement to help, say, with diseases.
Oh, exactly.
Showing safer ways
exactly
of buildings,
right.
creating new ideas and stuff like with the technology. And of course, it's always the same. It's like the famous the Chinese, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Good and evil. One cannot basically symbiotically exist without the other and stuff. But I think the best thing for all of us to do right now is. Are we ready to do our close here?
Well, just do one more segment, but I just want to say.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought we were.
Well, when we did Rummaging, actually, I was expecting to get just a little bit, and we actually, luckily, Nikita said.
Oh, that's right. Diana made a killing.
Yeah, luckily, Nikita said.
I would say you spent about $500 on furniture, and it cost you how much?
About $25.
$25, and I bought. I spent a full $250. I bought 2 very adorable stuffed animals, and I bought a new pair of sandals, which normally would cost $40. Let's say at I'm trying to think of the names. Boston store.
Exactly.
What's the other one?
Yeah.
But I can't think of the names.
That shows the laid back. And what happens when you go up there? You're gonna
I paid $1, which the sandals were marked $3, and they they were walked around in the home, and then finally she walked outside, and that was it. But then she decided she didn't want them, and she had a $3 price tag. By the time I came up, she looked at me and she said, $1, honey.
Exactly.
I went, $1?
Yeah, exactly. That's
I
it.
mean, who doesn't have a dollar?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and just before we move on to that next segment, just a thought out to the East Coast elite news agencies. Yes, Pittsburgh, is part of the auto belt, and when we were part of the auto belt, you could get all your information from Pittsburgh and everything else. But really, if you really want to find out what people are thinking, please send correspondence out to Wisconsin, out to southeast Wisconsin, out to northern Wisconsin. Out, in northern Wisconsin, to those in the East Coast elite, starts at Highway 21 when you get to Oshkosh and the Three Circles of Hell turnabout. But if you take Highway 49, you'll have a better route. We don't have to go through the turnabout. But
oh yes.
Yes.
I was about to cross that.
Yeah.
That nightmarish creation.
Yeah.
And we saw two vehicles vying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's going to get around the curve first?
Yeah. You thought
they slammed together.
Yeah, and you would thought you were watching the Indianapolis 500 at turn 2.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
I heard more than just hitting metal.
Yeah.
Things broke off.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then not even before you could blink an eye, there's like 5 or 10 cars coming. I mean, it was like a racetrack.
Oh, sure, exactly.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, I drive 10 miles out of my way, and I have to say, it's your fault that you hit me. No. You should have gone faster. Well, and now for the closing segment, we'll talk a little bit about technology news about the COVID-19. Yeah.
They have discovered that basically COVID-19 is about 26,000 base pairs, where AIDS was about 9,000 base pairs. And they did find that COVID-19 does have more mutability than the AIDS virus did, because AIDS has a mutability for 3 subgroups of COVID-19. Well, let me just interject this. Sure. About 3 months ago, there were some preliminary research being done, and the conclusion is COVID-19 is a mutation of the AIDS virus and the Sears-Mears. Oh yes, known as COVID-2. Right, exactly. We know it's basically 2 viruses that have joined together, assimilated. Oh yes, yeah, wow. I know I've heard stories that it was created, in a Chinese mad scientist lab, basically. Yeah. But the conclusion is that it mutated all the way back then. Exactly. Because as you mentioned, it was actually I have heard there might be some viable truth about the Legionnaire's disease. Yeah. Was actually a combination of the AIDS virus and kind of mutating, and because they do claim it was a close that at first, at first only attacked crustaceans. Right. Then they mutated and it allowed its genetic material to infect animals. Like cross species. And then finally cross species, and then somehow it mutated into human beings. Right. And it's already mutated again. It's becoming extremely versatile. It almost has like a thinking pattern, and that the idea of being close and all that. Yeah. Because I remember I was talking about how the internet is a wonderful tool and everything in that, but I could really sense the what I call desensitization. Yeah. I mean, no longer you don't. That's not a real person. Of course, that's a real person on the screen. Right. But since I can't see or touch you, right. I've been desensitized by that. Right. But by that emotional response. The current COVID virus does have some characteristics that would make an intelligent species, because the category used to determine intelligent species is the word organism. So it's something organized. Yes, COVID is organized. Is it responsive? Yes, it's responsive. Well, it does have an unusually long chain of. Now, are we talking about molecules? No, the whole molecule, the whole cluster. And then the other
Okay,
part,
it would be that long.
right. And then the other part,
okay.
is it growing? Yes, it's growing. Is it responsive? Yes, is it adaptive? Is it nurturing? Well, that part we don't know yet. Does it act individual? Well, we don't know about that. But can it self-duplicate? Yes, that goes over here. So 6 to 2.
And we do know that unfortunately certain ethnic individuals are basically, we're all made out of RNA, DNA.
Sure.
Unfortunately, certain races of people, for some reason, the COVID-19 is much, it becomes, susceptible,
Exactly.
like up to 4 or even 5 times as fast
Right.
as other,
Right.
ethnic groups.
Right. So now the last part does have metabolism. Yes, it affects a person's metabolism mechanically. So basically, there's 2 things, and there's about 6 things on the other side. So it does exhibit the thing of a living organism, but it's not.
Yeah.
But it's very close to it. See, just 2 things missing, but basically, and compared to other viruses we dealt with, other viruses didn't have this many on this side. They have a lot on this side, so that's why And
so it really makes a difference if it's on.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on how you're looking at it, viewing it the left or the right side.
Well, see, when something is responsive and adaptive, that's sometimes the thing. Like if it walks like a duck and acts like a duck and talks like a duck. Well, if it's responsive and adaptive, that's sometimes the quick way to say something has intelligent behavior, because that's learning. Like basically
probably on a chemical way,
right.
That it basically it can transmit, because I mean, for the layman's term, basically, the virus is small enough that it can go. Unfortunately, the masks that basically everybody's wearing in that,
right.
It really, even the best surgical masks are only 95% effective. But you did mention there's a mask. I don't know if you can buy it now, but it's
you can.
100%.
You can.
Half a micron, if I remember.
Well, what happens? Just due to this crisis, I will mention the company. Just please note, I'm not getting any money from this company or anything else, but CopperFit does make a 0.3 micron mask that they sell, washable and everything else.
Is that the one they advertise?
Yeah.
On the info?
Yeah.
Is that the one for $29.99?
29.
So it's 0.3.
0.3 microns. Which basically will stop, because see, most masks, well, again, let's use this cup of coffee as an analogy.
Yeah.
This is most mask. This is the foreign most mask. This is the COVID virus.
This is the what we call the 95 mask.
That N95 mask and other masks. Okay, this is the COVID virus. This sock full of coins.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can see basically, COVID virus has a great job getting in here.
Yeah. As you can see, it can just kind of go, it can actually, if it goes in a straight line, it can go right in.
Now, this is a 0.3. Let's say, okay, now here's COVID virus. You can try pushing as hard as it can. You can try going, let's see, well,
it's not going to.
Let's see if I can make a worm. Nope, not even trying to make a worm. It's not going to get in there.
Yeah, so basically, so I mean, unfortunately, I mean, since this never happened, I mean, there was a lot of manufacturers that made a lot of money, by producing. Unfortunately, in my opinion, because I know a little about microbiology,
sure.
I mean, you can just type in how small is a micron, and that these kind of masks that we wear are good for like pollen, dust, dirt,
exactly,
and the thing is, as long as you have a strong immune system, the virus pretty much will never become full blown, just like the AIDS virus was.
Oh, sure. But one thing I do want to give a shout out to is basically very scientific magazines as Nature, Springer Verlag, American Academy of Science. Trying to remember.
That's okay. We can talk about that in a later date.
But no, all those sites have made their papers available to download without fee. So basically, so researchers can get the current information that's in the journals that they can download. Because normally what happens, many research libraries sometimes have trouble forwarding those magazines, because basically nature and spring of Verlag is like $168 a year. And if you're a small lab, again, $168 a year can be a little bit hard depending on if
168.
if you're
I think the first two numbers would be more feasible for my budget.
So
With a small lab.
yeah, so it's
Small lab.
and also other universities are made the university libraries open so researchers can go online and read, and also people who are retired researchers like I am or hobbyist researchers, you can, because like in astronomy, Nikita, astronomy has benefited very much from the hobbyists and the and I don't know, there's a higher term other than hobbyist, because you're very well trained in it.
Well, I mean, basically, when you say you're a scientist,
yeah,
I mean, it's I could sit here all day and you could tell me what you do and stuff like that. So
exactly.
basically,
Yeah.
the old word could be more specific.
Right. So
and I myself, I'm an amateur astronomer and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But I just wanted to mention is what makes this virus so adaptable, because unfortunately we're all made out of genetic material.
Yeah.
The virus somehow has the ability in its, like we all have genes.
Yeah.
And then basically the genomes
sure
have what they basically label as markers. And I think the reason they call it a marker is because the resolution, even with the best electron microscopes, can't really show. Essentially, they look like streaks. And these are markers. And if we had if our technology could, I don't know, actually go inside the markers, and this is just in my own opinion, I believe what makes COVID-19 so adaptable with human beings in that is one moment it can be harmless, benign, and the next moment it actually can become cancerous, basically, and then eventually break down. But basically, it changes your genetic material.
Sure.
And that is the hardest thing with the researchers right now. It's incredible, some of the maps. Basically, I know they're like high definition, like a wire diagram.
Right.
Showing in that. And you did mention that they have the sample of COVID-19 has to be cryogenic frozen to see its structure and stuff like that. Because basically, that round ball with the little extension sticking out,
the pucker ball,
the puffer ball, that's cosmetic.
Right.
It's actually the material inside. It's all genetic material, and it looks kind of like pasta. Those little rotini.
Oh, exactly. Right, it does.
And Diane was a researcher in the 90s, and she actually showed me some rare pictures.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and during that time, I worked with Dr. Gasher Coverage, who was head of Sloan Kettering, and we all of us used to have like open phone chats, because basically that's how we did it those days, because we didn't have internet, so you had to do a phone tree,
Yeah, actually, yeah. And I bet you had dial-up.
Yeah.
Don't pick up the telephone.
Oh, I was lucky I had dial-up. What happens? The only way I had dial-up was
I deliberately a friend
I had
told me.
dial-up at my house, but I didn't have dial-up.
But a friend, I wanted to hear the computer talking.
Yeah.
So deliberately, the phone was ringing. I picked it up. No. And let me see if I can do my impersonation of the computer talking to the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was done with 300K, 1600 baud, 9800 baud, and then finally the last generation was 57 kilobaud. Now just think about that. That's 1/1,000,000th of the speed that we have today and we did quite a bit on internet at that time. But But Nikita, what you mentioned about the mutability. Part of the problem that we're running into is this. There's some points of this Black Lives Matter that I do agree with, but I don't agree with the methods and the violence. I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with expressing your opinion, which you would be denoted as peaceful demonstration.
But I did like what the mayor of New Orleans did. There's some statutes, and he realized that some of the statutes disparaged what but he did the right thing. He actually took them down, put them in a museum. He didn't spray paint them or destroy them, and he just took them down. But
Okay.
but
I could see taking anything to do with that condones, any kind of past slavery and so on.
sure.
But I guess this type of stuff shouldn't, it is part of history.
It is, but the reason why I'm saying this Black Lives Matter partially is valid with this COVID-19 is yes, there in medical research there have been segments of the population that have been underserved. Like when drug testing was originally done, it was originally done on people who are upper middle class and white, and also who are male. So basically, just to give you an example, one time when my dad died, I had to take some medicine to calm my nerves, and what happened was, this was before I transitioned, but I told him, I said, please understand that I have an extra female chromosome. And they said, oh, no, you don't. I said, well, please do a blood test. And what happened was, so they gave me the, at that time, my weight was going up as about 320. So they gave me this medicine to calm my nerves for the prescription of a man, well, it happens basically because I had an extra X chromosome. It was like giving me a triple dose. So I came to work. I was like, hi, how are you? And finally, when I did transition, the hospital where I transitioned, they actually did do a genetic test and they did find out what I said. And so when they give me medications, they also kept up the new research that women have to be given certain medications in a different dose than men. It's not strictly by weight. You just can't say men and women are.
Even transgender is what you're.
Exactly.
Diane's trying to explain that she's a transgender female.
Exactly.
But again, it basically is just, it isn't so, widely known about transgenderism and that. So the research and all that was so
biased
and stereotyped.
Right. And so to be fair to the Black Lives Matter, and that's what part of the problem we're having with this COVID is basically sometimes people will give medications to certain people, certain populations. They'll say, well, according to this study, it worked. Yes, because this study only used a certain segment of population that's mostly upper middle class white males compared to basically another segment that was different. And what happens? So basically, then when it doesn't work, they blame the patient instead of actually blaming, how the experiment with how the drug was tested. And this is where with COVID-19, what we really need to do if we really need to solve this. Basically, we need people of every ethnic group and religious group to donate serum, or plasma. So basically, we can start to determine, is there a phenotype that the COVID virus works harder on, and by isolating the phenotype, then we can figure out exactly what specific site is this virus working on. But when people do this donation, I don't mean, when I say donation, I don't mean that they should not be paid for, because
you're not trying to basically say that one race of people is more superior than others.
No.
I mean, we're just talking about something. It's the old catchphrase, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Right. We're talking about the DNA, RNA, the way the way everything basically, the color of your eyes, the color of your skin,
and I worked
your gender, and all that,
and I worked in medical research as in hematology, and in hematology you have the ABO blood group, and also you have the Rh, and what happens, what I'm saying is that's the same. But just to give an example about that, there's a point that Black Lives Matter. Even what happened with the ABO blood group. This is a strange but true aspect of history. The inventor of the ABO blood typing system was an African American, and he died in 1949 in a Southern hospital because basically they took him at that time to what was considered a separate but equal hospital. But the separate but equal hospital did not have the resources to do blood typing, so he was transfused with the wrong type of blood. And see, that's why I'm saying with this COVID-19
wasn't he basically because of, unfortunately, his at that time, because in those days they had white only and
that's
black
only. What happened.
So basically, the guy who came up with the idea of separating hemoglobin in the plasma,
Yeah.
was indeed a
African
brilliant
African,
African
yeah,
researcher,
right.
and he basically was dropped off in the back of the hospital.
no, he's sent to a African, he's sent to a equivalent black hospital,
But
and
then,
and
but
they-
he wasn't brought in. I guess.
yeah, he was. He was.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what happened at that time, basically.
I saw it on MASH.
Yeah,
episode
but
MASH.
that time what happened, separate but equal was not, because the black hospital did not have the blood typing, and to do the blood typing, you put two pieces of blood on a slide, and you have different reagents, and if one coagulates, that's A. If this coagulates, that's B. If both.
Okay, so that's what determines your blood group.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But see, what I'm saying with this COVID-19 with the phenotypes, if we could get more of a true population as to how this COVID-19 reacts to different populations in the binding sites, we could take care, because it is
Sounds like a positive move.
yeah, because
It really does, because basically, like I said, I mean, you have to remember these people who are expressing this. This is their opinion about. But if it comes down to, like I said, the makeup of the individual, the RNA, DNA, and that, I mean, we have to create a vaccine that works for all races of people.
Right,
and I really think there should be, like you said, a sampling of everybody.
Right, and I'm beginning to think with this COVID-19, although I don't have any, I just have proof from epidemiological data that this COVID-19 is acting like the way blood does. There are different COVID-19 types. There's one type that's very effective with a certain group of people, and another COVID-19 that's not effective with another group of people. So basically, if we get the phenotypes, we can figure out why the different flavors, and then we can figure out how to solve all the flavors, but solve the spawning pond first, the one with the group that's mostly affected, and then they'll solve it for everyone else. But we got to stop the spawning pond and we got to give phenotypes of every different groups of people. Basically, Caucasian, African American, Chinese, Mexican, and even various subgroups of people, basically that are there's subgroups other than just race, and that.
So actually, this finally is something they should have done like 3 months ago.
Yes, they
with
should.
All these researchers,
they should have. Yeah,
it should have been done 3 months
and that's
ago.
What makes me. That's what makes.
I mean, keeping the country locked down, basically, not having no money coming in, and that. I mean, well, we need to have. I mean,
well, and yesterday on BBM there was one reporter that does news radio service for CBS News. I forgot his name. William Brangham. He had the best kind. Said, if we just would have been able to spend just billions of dollars on this each year for prevention, we wouldn't have to spend trillions of dollars and have many deaths to try to fix this. And he's right. And but now basically the part of the thing to fix this, we got to get this. And when people do donate serum, you got to make sure that they're paid properly, because see, when you donate serum, there's two processes. The old process is basically this is called the single needle. Basically, you have a single needle, and basically, what it does, it takes some out like this. It takes it out, and then basically, when you take so much plasma out, then they put a new needle in that rehydrates you. Now the newer process is a double needle, where basically you take one out, but then you rehydrate at the same time. But both of them, when you donate, like plasma.
So I mean, that's how they're doing the COVID-19. They're not doing the old swab anymore.
Well, they're doing the swab, but to get serum, you have to do it this. But the problem is when you give serum, many people say, well, they'll give you like a cup of coffee or candy bar and say, well,
yeah.
But no, really, the person's so wiped out that basically they're going to need to be paid, because basically it's going to take them 3 days to basically rehydrate, have enough food to do everything else. So basically, that's why they should be paid sufficient enough so that basically they can get the proper food and other stuff. It's not. And
I guess the biggest criticism with all these tests, people are told, it might take, at the earliest, give it 72 hours. And some people have been waiting. One lady says she had it done, and it's been 3 months and she hasn't heard anything.
Yeah.
But I guess the norm is about 14 days.
Well,
to
this,
get your the test back, and again, it depends on where you are. I've heard other states in 24 hours, one day.
Well,
Comes
that's
back.
still too slow, because to do contact tracing and to do the necessary medical and epidemiological services, that data should, like, just before it goes, I'll give one more anecdote. When I worked in hematology, one time I visited colleagues out in Boston, and we were at a seminar in Portland, Maine at Bowdoin College, and basically it's a alumnus of Longfellow and Thoreau, and I went to the bookstore to get a notebook. But at one point I was talking with one researcher, and he said, I'm doing this research on A1B antibodies. And he said, well, how are you coming with this? Are you guys running into some of the issues about mixed findings? He says, yeah, we are. He says, well, no, but the thing is, we're getting our blood results fast. We get our blood results back from Boston in 4 days. And I looked at him, I said, 4 days? I said, no wonder you guys aren't doing it. They said, by that time the cells already differentiate. I said, don't you guys have your own blood testing and everything? Well, basically they told us it costs too much to do. I said, really, to get your research done, you got to do your blood testing 24 hours like we do in Milwaukee.
So it actually then basically will fall apart.
Wait, or the other thing was, they've been sending us blood samples.
How about cryogenics?
Well, I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
They've been saying blood samples are preserved in paraformaldehyde. And what happens? I looked at it. I said,
I wonder what school they went to.
And well, this was from some major colleges in Boston. I won't mention names.
Wow.
But what happens was basically the paraformaldehyde they're using. Oh, well, we just saw basically we didn't have to prepare fresh paraformaldehyde. We just used this one for 3 days ago. Yeah. And what happened was Alexis was with me. We both doctor. And when doctor was with us, and we all looked at this like, this is supposed to be 1990. This is not 1952. And he said, well, I said, no, you don't know. That's you actually
sounds like there was a lot of stress going on.
Yeah,
it wasn't just common sense applied.
Yeah. So this is what I mean about this COVID-19. I mean, people think basically, it's like, oh, what's saving these pennies, saving the taxpayers' pennies by not doing this online test. And it's like with the rape kits in Wisconsin, they have so many rape kits behind because everything has to go through the state hygiene lab, separate labs. Well, basically, you're actually hurting people. It's better basically if you stop thinking about this and start thinking about the people.
About coming to conclusions. Stop saying in theory.
Yeah, testing results should be available within 24 hours.
I would say so.
It's just like in hematology, and also when you do genetics. When I worked on the senior genetics projects with Professor Gunderson at UW Parkside, we were working on chick embryos, and what happened was basically at the common research knowledge at the time was if you used 3-day-old chick embryos, you could still do. What's what happened? Okay, now we're studying axon growth, and we found out basically we had to use 24-hour chick embryos because after 3 days they're differentiated. Well, to close up, you can reach us at Diana 1A, and also we'll set up a new website. But here's our new closing song. Let's do it. And this has been Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Nikita.
I'm Nikita. It was a joy and pleasure of meeting all our future viewers. And shortly, probably, hopefully by September, we'll actually have a call-in feature.
Exactly. So,
and remember, men, you're always welcome.
Exactly. So we'll see you next time. Take a look sometime next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.